Good evening. It is now 6 p.m. On Monday, August 17th, 2026, and it's time to call this regularly scheduled board meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees to order. This meeting has been duly posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551. At this time, Mr. Vice President, if you'd call roll for me.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Luna Chavez. Mr. Weston.
Here.
Mr. Almaraz. Mr. Overfelt.
Present.
I am present. Mrs. Haynes.
Here.
Mrs. Webb.
Present.
Sir, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Quorum has been established. At this time, we'll start with opening ceremonies, first with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd please stand. Thank you. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to start with item 4, recognitions. We got some awesome presentations this evening. A, Smoking Rams Barbecue Club National Recognition, presenting Chef Adon Cortez. Chef?
Hello, Dr. Rios, Mr. Overfelt, members of the board. Thank you for having us here today. The Del Rio Smoking Rams Barbecue Club began 3 years ago with competition. We actually started as a really small club in 2020, right before COVID hit, and we weren't competing. It was just a group of kids that just wanted to get together and learn barbecue techniques to kind of relate to their fathers and family traditions and stuff like that. Then COVID hit. A couple of years later, we came back and we found out there was this great organization, the National High School Barbecue Association, that was promoting God, country, and family. And those are all skills that we try to teach in the culinary arts program here at the CT department. And as a result, we started out with one team, moved up to 2. Last year, we competed with 4. And then this past year, we moved up to 7. At one point, we had 10 teams. And we went to state with a record 7 teams. And of those 7, we took 4 to nationals. So on June 9th, the Del Rio Smoking Rams Barbecue Club represented Del Rio and SFDRCISD at the National High School Barbecue Competition in Dallas, Texas, at the Shield Sporting Goods store parking lot with 4 national qualifying teams in both categories of middle school and high school divisions. Each team competed in 6 different categories. We had the grilled cheese, ribeye steak, Dutch oven upside down cake, chicken lollipops, pork ribs, and pork butt. And the following are their top 10 rankings. We have middle schools and the top 10 rankings for the middle schools and top 20 rankings for the high school division. So our middle school, from Del Rio Middle School, we have Del Rio Blue Crew, Diego Hernandez, who was an 8th grader then, Adan Randez, who was also an 8th grader, Blake Hughes, who was an 8th grader, and Olivia Hernandez, who was an 8th grader, placed 6th place in grilled cheese. They have the grand champion ribs in the nation. They also have, overall, they placed 9th. They're coached by Chef Juan Fuentes and Chef Jessica Fuentes. We have Garfield Middle School, Ram Country Grillers, with, at the time, 8th grader Gianna Rodriguez, 8th grader Alexia Castillon, 8th grader Fabian Jurado, and 7th grader Elliot Jurado. They had 8th place grilled cheese. They had 3rd place ribeye. They had 9th place pork ribs, and overall they were ranked 11th in the nation. They're coached by Mark Rodriguez, Giselle Rodriguez, and myself, Chef Cortez. And then we had San Felipe Memorial Middle School Smoking Bros with, at the time, 7th grader Reed Nebel and Condon Flores. 8th grader. And they placed 10th in ribeye, they placed 6th in the Dutch oven cake, and they placed in 8th with their pork butt, and they're ranked overall 16th in the nation. And they're coached by Mr. Scott Nebel and myself, Chef Alan Cortez. And lastly, we were represented by Del Rio High School and early college high schools, Calcifer's crew at the time, Ana Zapata 11th grade, Viviana Zapata 9th grade, Daniel Padorin 9th grade, and Emiliano Castro 8th grade. And they received, their ribeye had 14th place in the nation, their pork ribs were 19th, their pork butt was 6th place, and overall we're ranked 28th in the nation amongst 85 teams. They're coached by Gabriel Zapata, Gregorio Castro, Yasmina Zapata, and myself, Chef Cortez. This is just a testament to what a little bit of ingenuity can do. When we first started this team, we were literally borrowing, and stealing every piece of equipment we could. And we have a beautiful community here that has stepped up and supported us. We want to thank not only you guys at the board, but we want to thank every single person that has donated to our cause. And this year we're gearing up to continue to bring God, country, and of course family into the homes of Del Rio so that we can continue to create strong traditions here in Del Rio. So I really appreciate y'all, and thank you for coming up and congratulating our kids. Thank y'all.
Chef, go ahead and bring them up, and go ahead and bring the kiddos, all the kiddos up, and the sponsors, and
Okay.
bring them all up here for some
Coaches.
pictures. The coaches, yes, please.
I also wanted to mention this is considered a national sport. We were recognized by the nation, and each one of these students that's up here also earned their Letterman jacket in barbecue, which we're one of the first teams in the nation to provide that to our students. So we're starting a new program here with us. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, to move down.
Yeah, just come up a little bit more. More, a little bit more. Right there.
Just don't fall off the stage.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah, follow Chef around. Yeah, very nice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Chef.
Congratulations. 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 Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Awesome. Thanks. Congratulations.
Again, congratulations to all the students and the coaches and sponsors for going in and putting Del Rio on the map. First place in the nation for ribs is just amazing. So I think it's cool. Not only do we excel in different athletic events and in academics, but now this new growing one of barbecue there. And I didn't know that you can get a Letterman in bar. That's awesome. That's so cool. So congratulations to y'all, and look forward to this year and hopefully y'all defending the title and bringing it bringing it back. Congratulations. Anyone else want to, Mr. Galindo?
Just again, a huge congratulations. It takes a lot to be able to compete in this type of sport, and they're very long mornings, very long days, and by the end of it, you're just exhausted, right? And these kids get up at 4 in the morning to get their fire going, and they don't finish till 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and they're just ecstatic to be doing what they're doing and having to travel on top of that. And for kids at this age to cook at the high level that they do, that really tells a lot, not only about them, but their families and the input that they get to have into this sport. It really tells a lot for the kids, the sponsors, and overall the entire program as a whole. So congratulations. To get a walk is no easy feat. To get 2 is no easy feat. And to get a couple of them back to back is super impressive. So an amazing job to all the kids, to all the sponsors, to the program, and to the parents as well, because it takes a lot as well. And they traveled with them, and they spent a lot of time with them, and had to come together as a group. I know some parents had to transport large 1,000-pound barbecue pits on their own personal vehicles just to get out to these spots to make this dream happen for the kids. So thank you to everybody in the community, whoever donated, and I know there was some big areas here in town, large retailers who donated, so thank you to them. But overall, kids, amazing job. We are super proud of you. Keep it going. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Did Brian want to? Oh, okay.
Awesome. Again, congratulations and thank you all so very much. Move on to number 5, citizens to be heard. I don't think I have anyone signed up for that. 8, reports. A, strategic planning update, academic achievement goals. Ms. Jane Varial. And Ms. Varial, I'll give you, if you'll give me just a minute for the kiddos, and then we'll get started.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, Board President Overfelt, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight, I am going to give some strategic planning updates. As you know, our strategic plan is our district focus and efforts to improve student achievement. And so today, I'm going to give you an update on the support plans that we developed over the summer in collaboration with our Chief Academic Officer, Mrs. Sutton, CNI department, our campus administrators, our special ed, and our bilingual education departments as well. So these support plans fall under the area of highly effective instruction. And so I'll start there. I'm going to review our goal for highly effective instruction for our strategic plan for our district. Our goal for our highly effective instruction is by May 2030, 100% of our SFDRCISD students will meet or exceed grade level standards. We have 5 strategies under this highly effective instruction piece. However, we're going to target the first 3. Okay, so strategy number 1 is to provide grade level tier 1 instruction through high quality teaching strategies that address the needs of all learners and foster critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and independent learning opportunities. Strategy number 2 is to address specific learning needs for students that have not responded to tier 1 instruction through targeted tier 2 and tier 3 interventions focused on closing gaps and increasing academic performance. And strategy 3 is to develop and implement with fidelity, a district-wide system of strong data analysis practices to identify student needs, monitor growth, and ensure effective instruction for all students. So we'll start with strategy 3, our review of data. And you have in front of you a copy of the PowerPoint, but you also have another packet with all the data that we're going to review tonight. The first page that you have is your 2026 accountability ratings, and you'll notice it includes all the ratings across the domains that make up the overall score. And so you'll see that the grades are listed there for Domain 1, Student Achievement. We have Domain 2, Academic Growth, along with Relative Performance. You have Domain 3, Closing the Gap. And then we have our overall score and letter grade by campus. And so the district overall was at a 75 with a C. Your next page includes our ECR comparison report. And so there you'll notice that it has an indication of the growth or the progress or non-progress that we saw in each of the grade levels from 25 to 26. So the first column, you'll see the school listed along with the grade levels. Next column you'll see is in 2025, how many zeros we had, how many scores of 0 we had for each of those grade levels. In 2020, the next column shows you 2026, how many zeros for those ECRs. So if they're highlighted in green, you'll see that that was an improvement. So we lowered the number of zeros, scores for the ECR that was graded. If they're in red, you'll see that that was an increase. And we don't want an increase in the number of zeros when the ECRs are scored.
Ms. Farrell,
Yes, sir.
just for clarification for the for acronyms, for those who might not know, can you say what ECR is?
I apologize. The ECR is the extended constructed response. And so that is the writing piece. That is 20% of the test.
Thank you.
Okay. The next column, you'll see how many students mastered. So they scored a 5 or above in 2025. And the last column is how many students mastered with a score of 5 or above in 2026. And here we do want to see green, right? We want to see an improvement. We want to see higher numbers. And you'll see that across every elementary school. You'll see that with middle schools, and then of course our high schools. So in review of this data, we determined this was an area of focus that we needed to continue with. Then you'll move to the next page that you have there on your packet, in your packet. And you'll see this is the STAR performance for 2026 for Del Rio Middle School. As we were reviewing the data, we broke down our performance for our EBs, those that are being serviced through our ESL program. And then we broke down the data for those students that are being serviced by special education. And we took it a step further and broke down the data by whether the student was in a co-teach setting or inclusion setting. And so in the did not meet, you'll see the percentages of students that did not score in the approaches, in the meets, or the masters. And so that's highlighted in gray. You'll see the performance for 6th grade reading, 7th grade reading, 8th grade reading. Next area or section is for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math. We'll move along to Garfield Middle School. That's your next page. And you'll see the same. You'll see the performance for our EB students that are serviced in the ESL program, along with our special ed, and then broken a little further by the setting that they get supported in, which is co-teacher inclusion. And again, the percentages at did not meet. Are there any questions or any clarifications for these pieces?
Does anyone have questions now, or do you want to wait till the end? Okay, at the end.
Okay. All right, the next page is, of course, the performance for San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Again, we broke it down. All students, of course, is listed there, along with our EB students, students that are serviced through special education. Then we broke it down by setting, co-teacher inclusion. And you'll see the performance. At each level, of course, there's approaches, meets, and masters. You'll see that did not meets. So in review of this data, of course, we saw that we needed to make co-teach a focus for this year. In the next 7 pages, you'll see the performance of students in elementary. Let me bring that up. And again, it's listed by school. You'll have those copies in front of you. I'm not able to bring it up. But in those, you'll see the same data, except that it's broken down by resource, our students that are serviced by special education, the special education department, and you'll see the performance of students that are coded as EB, which are our bilingual students, by school. And then you'll see, of course, our special ed students by inclusion and then by resource setting. And again, you'll see where they landed across the approaches, the meets, and the masters by school, and those that did not meet. And you have that, you have those for every school in front of you. Okay, so we'll move on to strategy number 1. Okay, something's going on here. Here we go. All right, and so as we identified the needs based on the data that we reviewed this summer, we developed some support plans for our strategy number 1, which is Tier 1 instruction. How do we improve the planning processes and providing Tier 1 instruction across the board to all of our students? And so we developed what is a writing plan, and then of course a co-teach, middle school co-teach plan. And so you have those 2 plans in front of you as well. Those are the last 4 pages of your packet. The first pages were, of course, the data, and now you have the writing piece, and you have our co-teach plans there in front of you. I'm going to invite Mrs. Sutton to come up and review the writing plan that you have in front of you. And she'll talk a little bit more about the resources that we brought in to support Tier 1 instruction, as well as the writing plan and any professional development.
Okay. We're having technical difficulties.
There we go.
So, good evening, Board President Overfelt, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. I'm going to go a little bit over our writing plan. So, as Ms. Villarreal talked a little bit earlier about our ECRs and how we need to improve our extended constructed responses, we felt like we needed to take an additional approach to what we did last year. Last year, we did a 4-phase training system where we kind of introduced the calibration system for the extended constructed response, how the students were going to be scored, and then we did some additional support pieces on how to coach students through their writing process, and then the teachers did some coaching through the writing process in the classrooms. It was introduced more of like, this is an approach that we need to take. So second year in, we did see some successes in the classroom, and you started to see some of the students who were already writing starting to make improvements, moving from your 2s and your 3s into your 4s and 5s and 6s, while you saw a lot more students moving into the master's area of that. However, we did need to make an additional approach to making sure that our students moved from not being able to get a score on their writing piece of their essay. So one of the things that we did was we wanted to put some non-negotiables in place. So we went ahead and made sure that there are 3 frameworks that we wanted to make sure that we did. The first part was making sure everyone is using the same rubric from the state so that everybody's clear on what the expectations are, and making sure that that is posted in the public places in the planning sessions, in the planning rooms. We also made sure that we are all using the same writing strategy, which is the RACISD strategy, which is restate, answer, cite, explain, and then summarize. So that is kind of the breakdown. It is a very formulaic writing. It is very different than the creative writing we used to do. So they want you to follow specifically through that rubric. So that strategy meets that expectation. And then the last part is really breaking down each week of the 6 weeks and what you need to do each week of that to ensure that we get all the way through the process. Students get to go through the whole writing process, and how reading and writing connect so that they can respond to the reading that they read and answer the prompt. So that is kind of the framework pieces that we put in place this year. Some of the expectations are that we are going to do a little bit more monitoring of those things. So we have set up some pieces with you guys' approval to have instructional coaches. There are 3 instructional coaches that have now been placed at the 3 elementary campuses who had the highest number of zeros and who were targeted campuses. So we did put an instructional coach at Lamar, at Dr. Fermin Calderon, and at Ruben Chavita Elementary. We did sit down with the administrators there and with the instructional coach and set up a plan of action as how we were going to support them through the writing process. The professional development component of that, yes, sir.
Is that link also not working on the writing plan?
It wasn't a second ago. Yay. Excellent. That might be easier for you to follow me. I know you have a copy in your packet, but I'm just talking through it as I go through the rubric. The expectations are the pieces here that we've already discussed. Moving into the professional development side of that, we wanted to make sure that we held high to the high-level instructional strategies and oversights. So We are doing a one-to-one teacher mentorship, which is targeted-based PDs. So we're going to be going in again and doing some additional support pieces. And then we will be doing writing prompts daily. So one of the biggest problems with the writing ECRs we saw was that the breakdown of the writing prompt. So we're going to do deconstruction practice with warm-ups daily during the first couple of weeks to make sure that we can identify what the prompt is asking us, and then being able to find the information within the text itself. So the deconstruction of the prompt is the very first thing. It's very important that we do that, otherwise the writing is pretty irrelevant. And then once we start writing it, we're broke it down into 6 weeks. So the first 2 weeks is deconstruction of the writing prompt, discussing that in planning. In week 3, the students will actually write their ECR. Week 4 in planning, teachers are back in planning, and they will be calibrating those writing pieces and making sure that we're scoring them accurately. And then how we're going to support that in the coaching piece. We go back into the classroom to support students, and in week 5 and 6, we're coaching the students one-on-one, giving them some targeted areas that they need to address. The students are going to be receiving a little conversation starter card that has what they need to come to the table with. So it's a real student-teacher conversation where the students lead where they need help with the most, and the teacher supports that. And then they go back out to rewrite their paper with the corrections that need to be made with the revise and editing component of that. And that way their ECR will be pretty much restored. And then on the monitoring component, myself and the principal will be able to do walkthroughs through the classroom, monitoring the conferencing component, which is the most important part, on how well they're getting coached through their writing process in weeks 4, 5, and 6. And then as well as the instructional coaches on those campuses that have that, they'll also be going in. Those instructional coaches will really be focusing on the instructional delivery, support through the conferences, and then we'll be doing audits. So we will be having a ECR tracker that is going to be used by everyone. That's going to be in a Google Hub that we're calling an ECR hub for the campus. And every teacher will put their ECR tracking sheet so that we'll see when those conferences are held, what statements were made when those conferences, and then the post-conferences, if the coaching helped, or if it didn't help, what are your next actions? So those are now in place. And so our goal for that is to cut down the ECR's zeros by 50% and really move our students to become more proficient in reading and writing. And that's our comprehensive writing plan of action for us to improve our reading. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Is this writing plan just for the 3 schools that needed the instructional coaching, or is this going to be for all campuses?
This is district-wide. Yes, sir. 3rd all the way through high school.
I was just, it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. It's a lot for me over here. So my question is that, you have each week, make sure we're connected, 2 weeks, ECR 3. So what happens when the student is still back at the first week? So,
Oh, the students don't start writing until week 3. So we actually do a modeling and like an I do, we do.
my concern, so what if they haven't got it yet? So does our teacher still have time to go over? Because it's fast.
Yes.
It's fast.
The conferences are made to be no more than 2 to 5 minutes max with the student. And they have 3 weeks to revise and edit their paper. So they write their paper like they would on a regular STAR test. So they have their regular class period when they write their essay. And then they have the next 3 weeks to revise their essay with coaching from the teacher.
I'm also thinking, like, if they haven't got it, so how do we go back and reteach it? So, because it's a lot for the teacher, and it's a lot for the student, because what if they hadn't got it yet?
Sure.
So that's my concern.
It's a legitimate concern, and based on the number of zeros that the students got,
Right.
we expect that the students aren't going to get it. That's why having the conferencing between the teacher and the student, so that we can coach the student on what they need to focus on is essential, and it's probably an area that we have to improve. Now, this plan doesn't mean that the student learns to write the first 6 weeks. It's a plan that's going to continue throughout every 6 weeks, and hopefully every week the student gets better, and every time there's a conference between the teacher and the student gets better, so that by the time they do the writing in the month of
In April.
the student will be much further ahead than what they started. But we don't expect the student to get it the first 6 weeks. The conferencing and the reteaching is ongoing.
Okay.
This is just a cycle that we want the teachers to follow to ensure that kids do get a chance to write and do get conference with so they can improve upon the writing.
So are the teachers like on this time schedule? Because again, it moves fast. So I know we would like for them to be moving throughout the week, but it may not go like that. So how do we,
If-
how
I'm
do
sorry.
we support that?
If we have to adjust, we will, and that's why we have the principals conferencing with the teachers and the principals conferencing with the C&I department so that we can make adjustments as we go on. But the idea is that we focus on writing to improve the data that you just saw a
Right,
little
and
while ago.
I absolutely, but I just listening and hearing, it's a lot, and I just didn't. I need to understand a little bit more about
Yes.
reteaching, and if they don't understand, and then the teacher has to get the gist as well. So I just wanted to make sure there was like they were gonna have that time in there
Yes, ma'am.
because it's a lot.
And I will tell you that pretty much we told the teachers that the first 6 weeks is focused on the restate and answer. That is the main part of their paper, and then we're building from there. So restate and answer this time. The next time we're expecting them to be pretty good at that.
Right.
So then the second 6 would be restate and answer and really get better with their citations. And so they build up to have a really good quality paper by the time they take their state assessment. We're really working them through the writing process.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess I want to use my new board member card and ask a dumb question, just to make sure I understand, because the zeros are, I mean, that's what I see there, but is this from just not writing anything, or are they just completely failing the structure and the whole?
So the state, we do get how the students did. I will tell you that I've read pretty much almost every single zero that was written in the district. There was a large percentage of students who wrote nothing, which tells us that they didn't understand the prompt, which is why we're doing the deconstruction of the prompt, and we're spending some quality time this year on that more. The second part of that was that the students also didn't recognize the prompt. They were great writers. They actually wrote decent papers. However, it was off topic or it didn't answer the entire prompt. So therefore, the state scored it as a 0. So if you do not answer the prompt, that is the very first part, and that gives you your 1 point. And then from then on, even if you don't have exact citations, you may not get that. But you can get the grammar side of the house, your convention side of the house, that can give you additional points. But if you do not restate and answer, you end up with a 0, and that happened to a lot of our students.
So, but there are a number that just don't even try.
Yes, sir.
When we talk the the writing prompt and on STAR Day,
Yes, sir.
are they physically writing that out, or is it being typed into the computer and submitted?
They have the option to write their paper out first on a piece of paper, and then they have to type it into the system. For those students who have some accommodations, they do have the text-to-speech and the speech-to-text. So the prompt will be read to them, and then they can actually speak into their microphone, and it can type their essay also in for the students who have difficulty writing. But most students start typing into the system. So one of the reasons to make sure we practice that is that all of their ECRs are typed into DMAC during the year, so they get used to typing into the system for their essay. And then now with the new HMH adoption that you guys approved, it has a component called Writable, and that has those same accommodations and features that they're gonna have on the state assessment so they can continue to practice.
Okay, so regardless, they're they're ultimately typing it out,
Yes, sir.
and then it goes to the state's database that grades it, and it's an AI model that's grading it.
Yes, sir,
right? It's
75%.
not- So, yeah. So AI is going in and reading it, and out of all the ones that we got back as zeros that it did have something entered into, that did have something entered, or, because you said you read pretty much all of them.
Yes, sir.
How many, if any, did we submit for manual review?
We submitted 148 appeals on writing essays, and 15 were returned that were human. Those are all human graded afterwards to see it as a second time, and 15 of those were overturned and given a higher score. And then just for scoring purposes, since we're speaking of that, it's 75% AI, 25% human scored the first time. And then if it's a 0, then it automatically goes to a human score to be scored. And then there's one other scoring piece, which is if a student is 1 point away from next category. So if they are 1 point away from approaches and they were at did not meet, that also gets another scoring just to make sure that it wasn't an AI issue. So we did see 15 that were changed.
Okay. Because I know there has been a new wave that's starting to emerge of across the United States and in Texas of moving away from doing everything online and less screen time. But unfortunately, right now, TEA mandates that it all has to be done through
Yes, sir.
the Chromebooks or our testing centers and stuff like that. And I know AI is not perfect because we run into that problem at the college all the time. And I know it's expensive to resubmit, to go in and resubmit. And I think that probably that's where some of the problem lies, is the fact that we're using AI instead of people actually going in and doing it. And then the other one is slowly losing the ability to actually write stuff, because I see it at the college level with the so much screen stuff, et cetera. So, okay. Yeah, no, that's what I was curious about, is how many we resubmitted for manual grading, how much of it is actually AI looked at versus, so 75-25 breakdown the first go round. Okay. And I totally understand what Ms. Haynes is getting at, is we don't want the kiddos being left behind because we're moving so fast that they don't get it. Oh, we're moving on, and they get left behind. I know that's the big worry there. Dr. Rios, sorry.
Wanted to point out something for the board. Last year, we did take on a focus of improving the writing, and it wasn't. The results weren't terribly bad. If you look at some of the campuses, for example, you could see that Buena Vista Elementary in the 3rd and 4th grade decreased the number of zeros. You could see that all 3 middle schools in both 7th and 8th grade decreased the number of zeros. But our observation is that there are a couple of things that we could have done better. And one of them was decompose a prompt so that students understand what it is they're expected to write. It's about teaching them strategies so that when they understand the prompt, they can write to the prompt. And the second piece is the conferencing with students, that one-on-one conference with a student, as well as the entire process. But that's our focus this year. Besides teaching the writing technique, is to really focus on those 2 areas. And I'm pleased with some of the growth that was done last year, but this year we do have to take it 1 step, 2 steps further across the board so that we can all show increases. So I think we're on our way. I'm pleased with some of the improvements from last year, But now we need to build upon that everywhere so that we can be where we need to be with our students. So, thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Webb, did you have anything before we move on to the next
I'm sorry, Ms. Webb.
accountability part?
I didn't see you raise your hand, man.
I just wanted to say that I'm glad that we're targeting the writing, because you and I have been on the campuses when we were writing, and the students have to look at what is being asked of them. But if they don't know how to break it down, they won't be able to write to the prompt. Or they'll start, but they will not finish. So I am very pleased at the fact that we have the coaches that are going to be there to assist them. And I can tell you that one-on-one, when you talk to these students, they're smarter than what we give them credit for. Because once they are at least taught how to read and what the prompt is asking, they can write to it. They might not be able to spell it correctly, or your punctuation might not be there. That will have to come later. But as long as their process is there. Now, I know that Ms. Villarreal mentioned we reviewed, and I was questioning, who is we? Who reviewed?
So I know me and Rocio Peña, we read as many zeros as we could get our hands on to see one, even some that scored a little bit low, and we felt like, let's just to see before we turned in those appeals. We also reached out to the principals and we sent them copies of them and had them look over them also to give them a voice of which appeals they would like to also submit as well. And those were, so there was several people reading those papers. I will tell you that in reading them, that's where you find a lot of those errors, common errors of that's how they misunderstood that, or that's where that happened, which is why the audits are going to be very powerful for us to be able to look at the audits from the one-on-one coaching experiences. So if the teachers are writing, they're not getting conventions, they're not understanding how to restate an answer from the CNI perspective, we go, hey, there's 7, 8 teachers that are struggling with this. We need to do some professional development around that to help them so they can help their students. So we're really hoping this will help us help them so they can help the students.
And sometimes it's a grammar as well.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you.
Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Sutton. And I will bring up the co-teach plan, which is also very detailed. And of course, our goals are listed there. We want to increase academic growth for our special education students across co-teach. And we want to strengthen that planning, that collaborative planning, and those instructional practices in our classroom for our special ed students through that are being serviced in co-teach and in inclusion. And so those are kind of our goals that we're looking at, is improving interventions, differentiation, formative assessments, along with understanding accommodations much better, individual students much better, and then of course, how do we track their progress or their non-progress, and what do we do in response to that data. And you'll see that we have listed how the district will support, how campus leadership will support, and then of course the actions in the classroom by our co-teach teams. And you'll see that, of course, we started by analyzing data, which was the data that I showed you earlier. And then we moved this summer immediately to add teaching units to support the enrollment and the ratios for our classrooms. We developed, of course, refined the planning the planning protocol agenda, and then developed a co-teach lesson plan that was very geared to, it's called specially designed instruction, and really understanding the needs of our special education students and how they learn in the classroom. We're committed to funding an extra hour of planning for our co-teach teams, specifically on that specially designed instruction. And then, of course, ensure that we protect instruction at all times, that our meetings are not scheduled during instruction time. So we're focused on that. And district-wide, or, specifically and especially for our middle school co-teach teams. Campus leadership will ensure that those planning sessions do occur, and those additional hours, or hour of planning, are occurring weekly on Thursdays from 4 to 5. And then we also were able to give training to our co-teach teams on that specially designed instruction lesson plan, along with the planning protocol lesson plan or agenda. We did that on Thursday, August the 6th, with our back-to-school professional development sessions. And we went through that lesson plan, talked about how important targeted, guided instruction strategies will be in reaching our students, documenting the use of accommodations and modifications, and of course, progress monitoring. You'll see what the expectations are across the 3 levels of support, so district, campus, and what our teachers will be expected to do. And of course, that is to focus on those identified students. Our special ed teachers will focus on those identified special ed students in their co-teach teams. And the general ed teacher will focus on delivery of the content, while the special ed teacher supports the how we reach our students, right? Knowing those accommodations, leading the implementation of the IEP. And then, of course, there's a section there for planning protocol. Again, how do we support and improve our collaborative planning and our instructional practices through planning protocol. And then we also have what we should do in the planning protocol, along with the use of the lesson plan structure. Planning for a warm-up, mini lesson, guided practice is the big one, and then, of course, independent practice and closure. What are the shared responsibilities between our teachers at planning protocol sessions? What are our shared responsibilities at our weekly SDI planning, that 1 hour, extra hour, which is, of course, talking about how we support our students, creating those scaffolds, and the review of the IEP and accommodations for the team. And then, of course, having those reflections, what worked, what do we need to change? And then, of course, discussing those critical planning questions at those sessions. And then the next section shows you how we will monitor throughout the year. Our district staff will begin going into classrooms the 3rd week of school. For the first 3 weeks of school, our campus administrators will be going in to really focus on classroom management and how the classroom is looking, right? And then walkthroughs will inform our future professional development sessions. But again, the focus is on that guided instruction in that Tier 1 instruction. And then, of course, our intervention plans leading from the analysis of data. And so we're going to do bi-weekly visits to our planning protocol sessions, and along with visiting our SDI planning on Thursdays from 4 to 5. And there's some success indicators. And then, of course, we'll have our first training on RTI Data Day, which is September the 21st, on small group and guided practice. And then, of course, we'll continue developing future professional development through walkthrough data as we reflect on that and see the trends and patterns that we see in the classroom. And again, this co-teach support plan is an intentional move to really help our teachers understand that shared instructional responsibility, to use data to adjust instruction, really focus on the implementation of the IEP and understanding of those accommodations, provide guided practice, and then monitor student growth. Any questions?
Ms. Haynes?
I think I missed it because I was reading ahead. Did you say how many times you're going to do walkthroughs?
So walkthroughs, they do them on a weekly basis, but for the district staff or campus staff, are you asking?
Yeah, we walk through with the teachers and stuff like that in the classrooms.
We're going to try and visit on a weekly basis, not the same classrooms, but the middle schools.
Okay. Will they be like scheduled? Will the teacher know you're coming, or you're just gonna pop up?
We'll go into classrooms as we visit our administrators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? I know it's a lot, and I know it's difficult and sometimes disheartening to see the scores that the state assigns and all that, but you've got the plan laid out, and you've got the faculty and everybody to get it through. So best of the best of luck, and we'll be excited to see the results come next year or after the first kind of benchmark to see how we're doing. I thank everyone in the academic side and the CNI side, and I thank the teachers and staff for going in and having to learn the new curriculum and do those different things. And I just want to make sure that they're getting all the support they need, especially rolling out the new HMH or whatever it is. Make sure that they're getting everything that they need. So thank you all for the very detailed report.
A couple more slides, and that's strategy 2, really quick, for our resource plan at elementary to support the reading. We are having all of our diagnosticians and our special ed resource teachers attend Reading by Design. Those are the dates that we will be attending. I say we because I'll be attending as well, and so will Michelle Clark, our diagnostician coordinator. We will be training virtually in the morning. In the afternoon, we'll have time to collaborate and work through some homework assignments in order to get certified in this specific curriculum. And it really is to target the specific gaps that students have in reading. And so this Reading by Design, again, we have those teachers that will be attending September 1st and 2nd, 8th, 9th, and 11th. The second column shows you the personnel that will be attending September 2 through the 4th, and then 8th through the 9th. And then also for our elementary bilingual, we are asking for assistance with some interventionist positions, and that will go for approval tonight, I understand, and that is so that we can also assist our bilingual students. As you saw the data, that's another area of need, and helping with language development and incorporate that with our content along with the Telpas connection. And that is the end of our presentation. Any other questions?
Any other questions, comments? Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Takes us to item 8B, facilities and construction updates. Mr. Hector Chapa.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, just one sec.
I apologize. Ms. Sutton, I meant to ask you to highlight the areas that had gotten recognized through the accountability system. It'll just take a minute, but I'm sorry. Sorry, Mr. Chapa. We got to give a little bit of credit.
Yes,
We
let's
do.
throw
We
some
do
good
wanna
news in there.
highlight. We have the high school that received 2 distinctions this year. They received a distinction in biology, so freshmen in high school. Biology got a distinction, as well as the high school for academic achievement being in the top 25%. They were actually ranked number 6 out of their campuses, so congratulations. And then we also had, yay, that's great. And then also Garfield Middle School got a designation for social studies. So congratulations, Garfield Middle School.
Okay, awesome. Good work. Good job. Mr. Chapa?
Good evening, President Overfeld, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation includes updates on the district-wide roofing project, the Del Rio High School electric gates, as well as the San Felipe Memorial Middle School weight room. The contractor is currently working at CT, but they moved on to installing the metal roof portions, which are located above the mechanical classrooms as well as the welding. The vendor has installed the 2 new sliding gates at the high school faculty parking lot as well as the student parking lot. We're pending the electric openers, which are in progress. They're scheduled to come in next week to install the gate openers. And lastly, on the weight room at San Felipe Memorial Middle School, the furring out of the walls framing has been complete. The electrical upgrades are in progress. Pending is the insulation and drywall installation, and HVAC is also in progress. Vendor has received authorization from their mechanical engineer for the installation. That concludes the facilities update.
Any questions on anything, Mr. Galindo?
Mr. Chapa, can you just refresh my memory? Where's this weight room going to be located at exactly?
It's under the bleachers of the old stadium.
That's what I was, okay. Awesome.
Going on to the work orders. For the past 90 days, for the maintenance department, 913 work orders were created, 612 were closed for a closure rate of 67%. Past 0 to 15 days, 161 were created, 108 were closed, 67%. 16 to 30 days, 72 were created, 36 were closed, 50% closure rate. 31 to 60 days, 312 were created, 199 were closed, 64%. 61 to 90 days, 368 were created, 269 were closed, 73%. Technology department, within the past 90 days, 2,717 orders were created, 2,399 were closed, 88% closure rate. 0 to 15 days, 541 were created, 465 were closed, 86% closure rate. 16 to 30 days, 311 were created, 289 were closed, 93% closure rate. 31 to 60 days, 718 were created, 648 were closed, 90% closure rate. 61 to 90 days, 1,147 were created, 997 were closed, 87% closure rate. Transportation Department, the last 90 days, 132 tickets were created, 122 were closed, 92% closure rate. On 0 to 15 days, 9 were created, 5 were closed, 56%. 16 to 30 days, 6 were created, 6 were closed, 100% closure rate. 31 to 60 days, 45 were created, 42 were closed, 93%. And 61 to 90 days, 72 were created, 69 were closed, 96% closure rate. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Going back to maintenance, I know it spans essentially the summer. Do we attribute the completion numbers in the 60s because during the summer we pull our people off to do special projects within the district? Is that really kind of where we're looking at the 60s for completion during that time frame?
Yes, sir. As you'll see, it's through July 31st. So we're in the middle of those summer projects.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. On transportation for our buses, all of the buses are up and running. I know last year whenever we have, especially with the EV buses, whenever we have a bump and run, when somebody bumps into us, Bluebird's protocol is the bus has to sit for X amount of days because of the batteries, just to make sure there's no electrical issues. How are we on all the buses that are in operation right now?
Good evening. Mr. Lopez, the Transportation Coordinator. Right now, we don't have anything sitting for that specific reason as far as EV buses. We have some that are, mechanical issues, mostly AC at this point, but as far as what you described right there, we don't have anything right now at this moment.
Okay. When you say for AC, are those our EV buses that are having the
Correct.
AC issues?
Yes, sir.
And is it a warranted item, or are we having to wait on parts and stuff like that?
Right now, the issues, the buses that we have down for AC are all warranty issues, correct, that we're looking into with the provider.
Okay.
Right now, we're using our regular diesel buses at the moment. We're tight right now, but we are still operational as far as buses are concerned.
Okay, because I know athletics is really going to start kicking in, and we're going to be having to run the diesel ones out of town and stuff like that. So
That is correct.
just want to make sure the AC units are up and running, because now we're getting into the hot time of the year.
That is for sure.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Galindo?
So with that being said, on the AC issues, are we looking at a long-term fix, or is this something that could be a quick turnaround? And also, we can get an update, if it's not right now, he doesn't have the exact number for the weekend. What is the amount of buses we have down, and what are we looking at, as President Overfeld says, as we get ready for all the clubs and activities that are going on? What is that looking like?
As far as EV buses down, there is approximately 8 buses down mostly for AC issues, warranty issues, of course. And what was your other question, sir?
So with that being said, do we have a short-term turnaround to fix those, or are we looking at those being down for a long term?
Most of those are long-term, and they have been because of that warranty issue that we're going back and forth with the provider with. Fortunately, as far as EV buses and travel, we don't use the EV buses to travel, so we're just putting a strain a little bit more on our diesel buses. So EV, like I said, that's something that we're looking into with the service provider, and hopefully they're able to fix that. But yeah, that seems like a long-term issue that I've been trying to follow up for the last couple months.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Dr. Rios?
I did visit with Mr. Sanchez last week about using chartered buses. So unfortunately, the district will have to subsidize the cost for travel with chartered buses until we get the problem under control. We can't use double routes on diesel buses because of outside transportation or out-of-town transportation. So unfortunately, over the next couple months, hopefully only 1 month, but we will have to rely heavily on chartered buses for out-of-town trips.
That's correct.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That'll take us into consent agenda. In the consent agenda, you have some minutes from a couple of the last meetings, July 27 and August 6th. And then there are donations that are listed in there. Of course, as always, donations are published on our website and social media sites. Thank you very much to everyone out there in the community who donates to our different programs and to our schools. We appreciate your support. There's some purchase orders, a rather large one there, and then some others in there. So now would be the time if anybody has any questions on any of the purchase orders or contracts in there. And a reminder that one motion and vote will approve everything in consent. Any questions? No? Is there a motion to accept consent agenda? Mr. Galindo, seconded by Ms. Haynes. All in favor? Approved. Thank you. That takes us to item 13, business and finance. A, consideration and take appropriate action on the request to enter a resolution to authorize the public sale of certain real property previously struck off to the taxing authorities pursuant to 34.01C of the Texas Property Tax Code for delinquent ad valorem taxes assessed to said properties. Ms. Childress.
Good evening, Board President Overfelt, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, the agenda item in front of you has to do with properties that have already been struck off the appraisal tax roll. They were previously put out for bids. No bids were given or accepted, or no one, bid for these properties. And so now the request is to take them for a public sale that would occur at the county courthouse steps. So basically an auction. And the listing that you have here are the properties and the bid amount that they're proposing for the public resale.
Okay. So again, in your board, all the stuff that we got for our board packet, there should have been a black binder with the Val Verde County resale properties that was put together, and that has everything in there that is up for this resolution. Any questions on anything? Recommendation, ma'am?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees enter a resolution approving the public sale of certain real properties previously struck off to the taxing authorities pursuant to Section 34.01C of the Texas Property Tax Code for delinquent ad valorem taxes assessed to said properties.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to accept? Mr. Weston, seconded by Ms. Webb. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 13B, consideration and take appropriate action on the request to enter a resolution to designate and authorize the conveyance of title to the highest bidder per section 34.05I of the Texas Property Tax Code for tax foreclosed properties struck off in trust to the taxing authorities. Ms. Childress.
Good evening once again. This listing, 6 properties were provided. We are asking for you to approve the bid amount on 4 of the properties. Again, these properties were struck off the appraisal roll. These are bids that have been received, and the 4 that we're asking for you to approve have been taken to the county. I believe also one of them was also already approved by the city of Del Rio. So we are asking for you to approve those same 4 properties and the bid amounts that were given on those.
Thank you. And again, these 4 are listed on that very first page of the binder that we got. Any questions? Recommendation, ma'am?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees enter a resolution to designate and authorize the conveyance of title to the highest bidder per Section 34.05I of the Texas Property Tax Code for tax foreclosed properties struck off in trust to the taxing authorities.
For the recommendation of the motion to accept, Ms. Webb, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, consideration to approve membership with the Central Texas Purchasing Alliance. Ms. Childress?
Good evening once again. We are asking for you to approve our membership. This is an interlocal cooperative. It's called the Central Texas Purchasing Alliance. It will just afford us another interlocal cooperative agreement to be able to, when we are looking to bid out things, that we could, to reduce the RFP process.
Okay. Have we ever belonged to CTPA before?
No.
Okay. Any other questions? And again, this is just to make the RFP, right?
Yes.
RFP process a little bit easier to bid
Yes,
out.
yes, sir. These allow. They've already done the back work, the bidding, the contracts. They've already done the vendor information studies for us.
Okay, awesome. Recommendation?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees authorize for the superintendent to sign the membership with the Central Texas Purchasing Alliance.
For the recommendation, I so move. Is there a second? Mr. Weston, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13D, consideration to approve consultant services agreement with ANCO Insurance Hub International Company Region 10 ESC, number R10-1125B for medical and volunteer employee benefits and property and casualty liability coverage. Ms. Childress.
Yes, sir. Good evening once again. Administration did conduct a very broad review on our insurance expenses, and at this time, we would like to ask for you to consider recommending to move into a consultant services agreement with ANCO Insurance or Hub International Company, and they would be our insurance consultants as well as our broker of records to cover all of our medical and volunteer benefits, as well as our property and casualty liability coverages. I do have with us this evening Mr. Mills Cawthorn from ANCO Insurance, so he could introduce himself.
Sure thing.
Right.
Step on down.
This up a little bit. Good evening, everybody. Dr. Rios, President Overfelt, Ms. Childress, members of the board, and everybody in attendance tonight. As I said, my name is Mills Cawthorn. I'm with ANCO Insurance, a Hub International company based out of Bryan, Texas. And I work on the property and casualty side of the house. And so I'll keep this brief. Just wanted to give you a quick introduction to ANCO Insurance, a Hub International company. We started off as ANCO Insurance back in 2023 actually. We celebrated our 150 years of being in operation. And then in late 2024, we were purchased by Hub International, one of the top 5 brokers in the country. So we're part of the Hub Texas branch of Hub International. And I do just want to say that to be considered to be the district's broker means a lot to me personally. San Felipe Del Rio CISD is the district that I came up through from 6th grade through high school. So being able to come back and serve the district in this capacity is something that I'm genuinely proud of and would look forward to doing. And I do want to thank Dr. Rios, Mrs. Childress, and the board for the consideration that you've given our team. We do not take that lightly. And what I can promise you is that we will work hard to earn your trust every single day, whether that's on the insurance side, the risk management side, or just being available for whenever y'all need us. Again, we are excited about the opportunity to serve this district and this community. And I'll open it to any further questions that y'all may have regarding myself, Hub International, and ANCO Insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Cawthorn. Does anyone have any questions before I ask for a recommendation for approval to move to this provider? Okay, cool. Ms. Childress?
Thank y'all.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Cawthorn. Appreciate it.
Okay. Fine. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve consultant services agreement with ANCO Insurance Hub International Company for medical and voluntary employee benefits and property and casualty liability coverage.
Thank you, ma'am. Before I call for a motion, this is what's going to replace Brown and Brown.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Okay. Is there we've heard Mr. Galindo, is there a second? Mr. Weston, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
13E, consideration to approve a resolution designating the individual authorized to calculate the no new revenue tax, the voter approval tax rate, and other truth in taxation requirements for the district. Ms. Childress.
Good evening. This is an annual resolution that we put forth. We are moving to adopt our tax rate at the next board meeting. This resolution identifies the Deputy Superintendent of Business Services and the Chief Financial Officer as the individuals authorized to calculate the no new revenue tax rate, the voter approval tax rate, and any other truth in taxation requirements.
Awesome. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
No? Recommendation?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution designing the individuals authorized to calculate the no new revenue tax rate, the voter approval tax rate, and other truth in taxation requirements for the district.
Thank you, ma'am. We've heard the recommendation. I so move. Is there a second? Ms. Webb, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Item F, 13F, consideration to approve submission of application for the 2026 Defense Community Infrastructure Program Grant for federal funding and request approval to authorize the superintendent to submit the grant application and execute grant agreements. Ms. Childress.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board. This item is, as you know, earlier in the year, we submitted a proposal for the 2026 Defense Community Infrastructure Program Grant for a brick and mortar for RBB. We have been asked to move forward in the process and to officially submit a grant application in the amount of $13,835,926. This would allow the superintendent to be able to prepare, submit, and execute any documents necessary for this grant application.
Any questions or comments? No? Recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the submittal of the 2026 Defense Community Infrastructure Program, or DCIP, grant application in the amount of $13,385,926 and authorize the superintendent to prepare, submit, and execute all necessary documents, agreements, and contracts related to the Defense Community Infrastructure Program grant application.
Thank you, ma'am. And I know it's a big, it's a big thing, and it seems like we're just kind of like, okay, giving, and we're not like jumping up and down. I'm just superstitious. I just want I don't want to get woo until everything is signed and it's completely official.
Yeah.
We're excited.
But thank y'all.
Once it's all done and all that, then we'll have a nice announcement to make to the community there. So, yeah, that's just Dr. Rios.
Yes, we all want to wait and make sure that the entire approval goes through, but we have been meeting with individuals from DC, and we have been assured that if we do our part and submit the paperwork, and Alejandra Villarreal, our comptroller, Hector Chapa, myself, we've been meeting with them at different times, Alejandra almost daily. And in the first meeting I said, is the competition phase over. And the project manager said, yes, the competition phase is over, and you are guaranteed the money if you submit the appropriate paperwork. And as your case manager, I have 100% batting average in getting all of the paperwork through. So we're excited that if we do our part, and it looks like we will between now and Wednesday, we'll finish submitting the paperwork, and then we'll be awarded up to 13.8 million. I say up to 13.8 million because we may not spend 13.8 million in building it, but if we do, it's guaranteed. So we'll have more cause to celebrate later, but it is a guaranteed grant as long as we submit the appropriate paperwork by Friday.
Awesome.
Real quick.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Again, thank you to everybody who's been working on this. It's been a while to be working on this, but just real quick, Amy, just for the record, can you repeat the amount because you said 385,000?
Oh, sorry.
And so just for the documentation, or don't want anything to mess this up or anything.
Yes, sir.
So the 13,835,000.
Yes, sir. It would be in the grant application in the amount of $13,835,926.
Making sure.
Awesome. Thank you. And we appreciate our liaison from Laughlin being here this evening.
Thank you.
Also, so we've heard the recommendation by motion by Mr. Galindo, second by Ms. Webb. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to 14, Human Resources. Don't go anywhere, Ms. Childress.
No, no.
Consideration to approve 3 bilingual ESL interventionists with the bilingual ESL department.
Good evening, President Overfelt, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This item is to add 3 bilingual ESL interventionists with the bilingual ESL department that was mentioned as part of the strategic plan presentation earlier.
Thank you. Any questions, as was mentioned, that was in the presentation earlier? Recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve 3 bilingual ESL interventionists with the bilingual ESL department.
For the recommendation, is there a motion to approve? Ms. Webb, seconded by Ms. Haynes. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
14B, consideration to approve the conversion of Senior Human Resource Coordinator to Human Resource Director.
Yes, sir. Good evening once again. And administration is asking for the approval at this time to convert the Senior Human Resources Coordinator position to the Human Resources Director position.
Any questions on that conversion? Recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the conversion of Senior Human Resources Coordinator to Human Resources Director.
For the motion, is there a motion to accept? Mr. Weston, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
14C, discussion and possible action to approve the employee job descriptions and evaluation forms to cover 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Director, which is an update, bilingual ESL Director, update, bilingual ESL Interventionist, which is new, that was just approved, Counselor for Special Education, update, Educational Diagnostician Coordinator, update, Health Services Coordinator, update, licensed physical therapist assistant, update, licensed specialist in school psychology, title change, licensed specialist in school psychology coordinator, and update and title change, senior human resources coordinator, update, title change, special education director, update, special populations administrator, update, and speech language pathologist coordinator, update. Ms. Childress.
Yes, sir. Good evening once again. Before you are numerous job descriptions that we are looking. 1 is new, the bilingual ESL interventionist. 3 are title changes, the school psychology, the the coordinator for school psychologist, and the HR director. And the others are updates. The majority of them are, what was being updated was who they report to, their supervisory, due to district organization.
Any questions on any of the updates, changes, or additions? And the recommendation, I don't know if you have to list each one, since we've already read it into the record. We can just take a blanket.
Okay. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job descriptions and evaluation forms as discussed.
Thank you. We've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to accept? Ms. Haynes, seconded by Mr. Weston. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
14D, consideration to approve the updated 26-27 district compensation plans. Ms. Childress?
Good evening once again. This evening, we have some updates to our administrative professional pay plan as part of our compensation plan. Those items are found on page 295. The first one is with pay grade 2, and that's the addition of the intervention, the ESL, bilingual and ESL interventionist that you just approved. On pay grade 3, the removal of the bilingual ESL strategist. Those were removed during budget. On pay grade 4, we're updating the titles. The coordinator, LSSP, is now the school psychologist coordinator. The removal of the senior HR coordinator, the special revenue grants coordinator that was removed during budget, and the update to the title to the licensed specialist in school psychology is now just school psychologist. Then on page 296, under pay grade 6, it's the addition of the Director of Human Resources that was just approved.
Any questions? Recommendation?
Sorry. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the updated 2026-2027 district compensation plans as discussed.
Further recommendation, is there a motion to accept? Ms. Webb, seconded by Mr. Weston. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
14E, consideration to approve the second observation appraiser listing. Ms. Childress?
Good evening. This is something that we do update or we bring to you again annually. So in the event that a second observation is requested by a teacher, we are recommending the following administrators be the appraisers for the second observation. The first one would be the campus administrator at the same campus, or a campus administrator at another campus, or a district administrator from the following listing. That would be the chief academic officer, the chief compliance and accountability officer, or the chief special programs officer.
Tell me repeat the first part of it.
The first one would be a campus administrator at the same
Oh,
campus,
okay. All right.
or a campus administrator at another campus.
Any questions on the second observation appraiser listing? Again, annual thing that comes through. No? Recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the second observation appraiser listing as discussed.
Further recommendation, I so move. Is there a second? Ms. Webb, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to take us into item 16, security. We have a couple things there. Before I get into Chief Foz, I know we've been at it for an hour and a half. Does anyone on the board need a break or just move straight into?
No, thank you.
Okay. So item 16, security. A, consideration to approve the updates to the San Felipe Del Rio CISD multi-hazard emergency operations plan. Chief Foz.
Good evening, Board President Overfelt, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The Texas Education Code requires districts to develop, implement, and annually review their multi-hazard emergency plan. This year's emergency operations plan required the addition of a new annex for reunification. The key compliance requirements for this year's plans include updated signature and adoption review page, updated hazard analysis, inclusion of the reunification for the plan, district training for staff and substitutes. On the safety and security enhancements, it covers breaching tools and ballistic shields required at each campus, AED functionality, safety planning requiring for extracurricular activities, increased focus on student staff with access and functional needs, physical and psychological safety measures, trauma-informed supports, and suicide prevention training. Under communications and emergency coordination, it requires prompt staff notification required for credible threats, including social media threats, designation of a public information officer, coordination with law enforcement, fire, EMS, Officer of Emergency Management, and local health agencies, campus map distributions to DPS and emergency responders, first responder walkthroughs offered at each campus. The 2026-2027 cycle strengthens activity, strengthens the EOP to address active threat preparedness, emergency communication, and the recovery plan. Altogether, the plan has includes the reunification annex that is new for this year. I've already submitted the plan and the new annex to the TEA for a review, and it meets compliance. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Chief. Ms. Webb, you have a question?
It's not a question, Chief. On page 352, there's a correction that needs to be made. We have the Del Rio Police Chief of Police as listed as Frank Martinez.
Okay.
So that correction needs to be made.
Okay.
And I do know, Chief, in just looking at it, there were some admin changes, so I know some of the principles have changed from what's presented here to what it to wherever this will be. I don't know if it has to change to be on file for some of the schools, just to be up to date. In looking at some of the pictures that are included as evidence, as an example, so as an example, when it talks about Buena Vista and the playground, there it talks about a cut hazard. Was that something that maintenance has already rectified, or that's something that is in the process of being rectified?
I believe that's part of the next agenda item.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Getting ahead of myself, my bad. It is. Thank you. It's been a lot. My mind's elsewhere. My daughter's going off to college this week, so
I understand.
I'm in 30 different places right now mentally. Okay. The recommendation on the EOP.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the updates and the addition to the SFDRCISD multi-hazard emergency operations plans as presented.
Thank you. For the recommendation or motion to accept, Mr. Galindo, seconded by Ms. Haynes. All in favor? Excellent. Unanimous. Thank you. Now, 16B, consideration to approve the 23-26 audit report survey. Chief Fuss.
Thank you. Good evening once again. In compliance with the Texas Education Code 37.108, each district is required to conduct a safety and security audit each 3-year cycle. This audit consists of an audit report and survey that covers 2023 to 2026. The focus for the audit was a district-wide and security assessment that included a climate survey of the district employees and students, emergency planning, exterior door checks, interior doors. Overall, there was a strong safety culture with effective systems, and the priority was to ensure that we were in compliance with state mandates. Commendations, again, the survey and the audit found that the district had a strong safety culture among students and staff, stating that they felt secured. There was visible ISD police presence, effective staff supervision, strong visitor vetting and ID systems, and well-maintained facilities. The key recommendations were some things that they pointed out for fire code compliance, emergency mapping and shelter areas, some additions that they recommended that needed to be done, some recommendations for lab safety, chemical storage, and some addition of some security cameras, access control, and training overall. Any questions?
So now that would be on the playground where it listed the one about a cut hazard at Buena Vista as an example. That's something that we've rectified already, or is in the process of being
Everything's in the
rectified?
process, sir. Everything that we've come at, I have not yet shared full detailed reports with each campus, but anything that we found that was immediate, we submitted our work orders ourselves.
Okay. Ms. Webb?
Just a question, because Dr. Rios, you were gonna look at the fencing at early college? Is that part of the?
No, ma'am, but I did get a quote from Mr. Chapa earlier today for 2 campuses, and Early College High School is one of them.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Recommendation, Chief?
Thank you. It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the 2023 to 2026 audit survey and report.
For the recommendation, is there a motion to accept? Ms. Haynes, seconded by myself. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 17, closed session. It is now 7:43 p.m. And we are going to enter into closed session pursuant to 551.074 personnel matters and 551.071 consultation with attorney on the following items: discussion and possible action to approve personnel report, including new hires, district vacancies, retirements, and resignations. 2, discussion and possible action to approve the position of counselor at Del Rio High School. Discussion and possible action to approve position of assistant athletic trainer with the athletics department. Discussion and possible action to approve the TEA certification waiver. And 5, discussion and possible action of salary adjustments. And then also under 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations regarding property acquisition, issue, and resolution related to the same, deliberation on execution of all transactions and documents. All votes will be taken in open session. It's 7:44, and we are now in closed session. Good evening. It's now 9:04 p.m. We are back out of closed session into open session. No action was taken. Item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following new hires, district vacancies, retirements, and resignations. Ms. Childress?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resignations, retirements, and vacancies as discussed in closed session.
Heard the motion, recommendation. Is there a motion to accept? Ms. Haynes, seconded by myself. All in favor? Thank you.
Okay. And now,
And then
continue.
individually for
Yes, sir.
the- yes,
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Caitlin DeWeese for special education teacher behavior unit at Lamar Elementary.
For the recommendation, so move. Is there a second? Mr. Galindo, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Vivian Rodarte for special education teacher at Ceniza Hills Elementary.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? First by Ms. Webb, second by Mr. Galindo, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Marisol Fuentes for second grade teacher at Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary.
For the recommendation, is there a motion to approve? Ms. Haynes, seconded by Ms. Webb. All in favor? 4 in favor. Any against? Any abstentions? 1 abstention.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Mia Ortiz for social studies teacher at Del Rio Middle School.
Heard the recommendation, I so move. Is there a second? Mr. Weston, all in favor? Unanimous?
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Jessica Sunderland for science teacher at Del Rio Middle School.
Heard the recommendation, is there a motion to approve? Ms. Haynes, seconded by Mr. Weston, all in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Did, you did the AP one, correct?
No, that's a separate agenda
Okay,
item.
sorry.
The waiver.
So we're going to table item B and C, Mr. Overfelt.
Okay, administration's requesting item B and C, counselor and athletic trainer, be tabled. That takes us to item D, consideration to approve a TEA certification waiver. Ms. Childress?
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the TEA certification waivers discussed in closed session.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? First by Ms. Webb, seconded by Mr. Weston. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Item E, consideration to approve salary adjustments.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the salary adjustments as discussed in closed session.
For the recommendation, I so move. Is there a second? Ms. Haynes, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Administration's also requesting that item 18F, possible action on resolution related to property, be tabled. Nothing under superintendent's report. Is there a motion to adjourn? Ms. Webb, followed by Ms. Haynes, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.